Why does your brand suck and how can you fix it? Listen today on the Freedom Club Podcast.
Welcome to the Freedom Club Podcast, where we discover the fight for freedom, fulfillment, passion, and purpose. Your host is Kurt Mercadante, Gallup certified strengths coach, an agency founder who is dedicated to coaching individuals seeking to level up their life and their businesses. The Freedom Club is about unlocking your talents, turning them into strengths, and crushing your objectives. You can learn more at kurtmercadante.com. Welcome to the Freedom Club.
And welcome to the Freedom Club Podcast. I am your host, Kurt Mercadante, and whether this is your first time listening or your 51st time listening, I am so glad you're here. And if you like what you hear here on the podcast, that was a lot of hears, please tell your friends about us. Go give us a nice rating, review. That's like currency to us, and it allows us to reach more people with our message of freedom and fulfillment. And a lot of people out there, they quit their 9 to 5, they become entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, business owners, whatever the hell you want to call it. And in doing so, they try to build their brand, but too often they focus on the tools first. I can't tell you the amount of times I get people who ask me questions like, have you figured out the LinkedIn algorithm? Should I get up on Twitter? What style do you use for your videos? What's your Google Plus strategy? Granted, that was kind of an older question. But if those are the questions you're asking yourself as you begin to build your brand, then you're doing it wrong. Those are questions I've been asked by my coaching clients and former clients of my PR and ad agency. And when I owned my agency, I would tell clients, we're not going to discuss tactics until we define a strategy. And as a coach, I tell my clients now, don't worry about the tools until you've defined your purpose and then a strategy for achieving that purpose. Then and only then should you worry about tactics. So if you're trying to build a personal brand without first having defined your purpose, you're going to fail. And if that's what you've been doing, that's why your brand sucks. So here's how to fix it. So first, what are you really good at? What comes naturally to you? And if you regularly watch my videos or listen to this podcast, you know that I'm a huge proponent of discovering and then unleashing your strengths. And your strengths are those things that you do well with minimal effort. When you're in your strengths zone, things come more easily to you. It's easier for you to get in the flow. That's why all my coaching programs begin with the Clifton Strengths Assessment. We determine your strengths so you know what it takes to get the best version of yourself and what strengths you can use to define your purpose and rock your brand. Why the heck are you even creating a brand in the first place? And why do you even do what you do? Is it simply for a paycheck? Or does the business or company you're building truly give you fulfillment? If you don't know, then you likely haven't defined a clear life purpose. And a life purpose is your desired outcome for your life. It's that 1 to 2 sentences you would want someone to deliver at your eulogy that sums up your life and legacy, whether you die later today or 20, 30, 40 years from now. And it's got to be something that doesn't just describe your work, but encompasses all 3 facets of your life. Those 3 facets are work, family, and self. Define that life purpose, then work backwards to define your yearly outcomes, your monthly outcomes, your weekly outcomes, your daily outcomes. Your purpose is your guiding star. It's your rock that will help define the type of brand you want to build, and more importantly, why the hell you're building it in the first place. So when we talk about social media, keep in mind, it's just a tool, just like a typewriter was a tool, or the telegraph. Was the beauty of Hemingway's novels determined by the paper on which he typed his first drafts? Of course not. So I don't care if it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, social networks will come and go. And even while they're here, they retain the power to throttle the reach of your posts, charge you to gain more reach, crush you in changing their algorithms. So do you really want to give control of your brand to a platform owned and controlled by someone else? The key to your brand is and always has been your message. And that message is communicated through your content. And your message and content should align with your purpose for creating it in the first place, and then a strategy for how you're going to do it. If you have those fundamentals clearly defined and set, it won't matter what social networks are in vogue at any given time. You'll find a way to adapt, and in fact, It'll be much easier for you to adapt than folks who are just throwing random crap against the wall to see what sticks. So yeah, remember that social networks are simply tools, and tools change. Your purpose will not. If you'd like help defining your purpose and rocking your brand, come to my website. Send me a message. I actually have a course called Your Purpose is Your Brand, because everything I do is about really finding that life purpose, reverse engineering it to live a radically outcomes-focused life. I don't care if you're trying to build a brand or build a life of freedom and fulfillment. So I thank you for listening today. And remember, if you're trying to build a brand without first knowing your purpose, you are going to fail, because that so-called brand will be hollow. This is the Freedom Club Podcast. Thanks so much for listening. I'm Kurt Mercadante. We'll talk to you on Monday.